Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Teddy.
We can't stop snapping here at the midpoint of the first steps seasons. We're going from the good guys to the bad guys. Brad, how are we feeling about the brand new category of card, the super premium release?
Ooh, well, it's one of those things where, like, I think a few months ago we were looking for more value out of the Super Premium Pass because before what it was just, you know, uh, just like some extra cosmetic stuff or whatever, and that
Yeah,
was pretty much it.
right. You would get
Um,
one variant, and then they added that you would get some borders, and then they're like, all right, here's a card. And we're like, oh, but don't add value like that.
I don't mind it. I know a lot of people were kind of salty because it's like, oh, they're putting a card behind a paywall. Now I disagree with that sentiment because it's not accurate. They're doing what they always do, like with the season pass card in general. They're putting a card behind a temporary paywall if you want it now, and then it will be released the next month into Series 5 or Series 4, whatever they decide, which is their arbitrary choice at the end of the day. And then you can get it with tokens later. The same thing is how I felt about when we talked about Kid Omega. I was like, yeah, this sucks. And it's a ridiculous amount of grind, and they are encouraging you to spend gold to get it. And I think that's pretty poor practice. But to sit here and say it is locked behind the paywall is a little disingenuous because it did get released to tokens anyway later on. And yeah, you can argue it's pay to win or whatever, but at the end of the day, we're playing a card game. And unfortunately, every card game in the history of mankind has been pay to win, except for solitaire. So,
Ooh, okay, yeah. Uh, I actually, yeah, I avoided getting it the entire season. It didn't feel like it threw me off too much. I did take this season more casually than I have any other season of Snap. It was a nice little kind of hiatus. The Fantasticar seems like a fun card, and yeah, because it is releasing here on the 5th to I believe Series 5. I feel like it has to be Series 5. I'm not seeing it on the Snap.fan page, but
it's
it
it. I'm looking at the release schedule, which I can actually switch to right now, so you can see it. It says
yeah.
Series 4 on here.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Even better, right? So you can get it early with the super premium along with their
so
other cosmetic
right
benefits,
there.
but then it'll be fewer tokens. And then is releasing with Mr. Fantastic on the same day, one to Series 4, one to Series 5. That's a fun balance between the packs. It does, I don't know, what's getting me more, Brad, is just the overall release fatigue. We're looking at in 1 month here getting 10 cards, 10 new cards, and then
Yeah.
you could count Mr. Fantastic and Fantasticar like taking the spot of like however you are, if you're playing free to play, if you're buying the passes. Um, I love the split of half Series 5 and half Series 4, but just the mental exhaustion of like checking in on all these cards and testing them is actually getting to me. Like the weekly release is now you get 2 cards a week. It's doubled. It's
Yeah, and
crazy.
it's trying to determine, like, as a content creator, like what direction you're going to go to, because it's either like
Yeah,
cool, like, there are some people that have like hundreds of thousands of tokens left over because they were hoarding what like keys and all that stuff for the longest time, and their collection complete, so they don't really worry about it. So they got a crazy influx of tokens, so those people can maintain their collection for a hot minute. Um, but like, it's also like, do you just buy as a content creator every single card possible? Because at the end of the day, if you don't have enough tokens, you have to put money into the game to get the tokens. Um, and because, like, honestly, like, a great example would be like Jennifer Kale here. Like, imagine if you had a card of this kind of caliber release as like one of your Series 4 cards for the week or whatever. It's going to
right.
be hard for like you or I as content creators to be like, yeah, we're going to invest into this card here and make a whole deck around it. It's like you just slap. What do you do? Just slap her into like a ramp deck. She's like your second Psylocke or whatever. So like it's hard to get excited and justify the return on investment for cards like this. So
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
little wonky. So I agree. I think the release is a little crazy. In fact, I can sort by I think what newest, and then go to the very bottom. That'll show me the ones I don't own. Correct? Is that how that works? No. How does that work? Where do I find the ones I don't own? I can't remember.
Oh, I don't know how it shows you that.
On
Because they're
show
just like, aren't
unowned.
they just silhouettes?
Yes. Okay. There they are.
Yeah, there you go.
So let me actually hide the overlay real quick so we can see. So I have I'm missing it's cutting off a little bit of the screen, but the ones on the far right are Toxin and Cobra, and then all the other ones you
Okay.
see in the center here. Um
Yep.
so like some of these are cool, right? But there are a few of them that I'm like, I don't ever care about getting. Like Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, why would I care?
Right. Yeah.
Fanfare, Topaz, I do not care.
They're so locked
Elixir,
to move.
yeah. Doom is like I got buffed recently, but again, I don't really care. The ancient one kind of fell flat to me, and I think Clea's not very good. Um, the only one on this list, honestly, that seems fun to me is Herbie, but it's not fun enough for me to justify 6,000 tokens. You know,
Herbie is fun. I can't believe you don't have Emperor Hulkling though. Emperor Hulkling is
really,
that's a good one. Yeah.
no, disagree.
That's the one that I would put on the top of the list of what you should get.
Mm, no, I don't think so. I think
All
he's
right.
sell me on him. That is a little tangent, but sell me on him. Why is he good?
Just the fact that you can get the ability, like the stat block plus ability, lets you high roll in a very unpredictable way, so that you're able to come out and just steal cubes off of these pop offs. I'm trying
Sure.
to remember
So
which list I
I
had
can
him in
get
and enjoyed the
Magneto. I
most.
could get like it could be a leader. It could be a Taskmaster, Heimdall,
Yep.
Eliath, Doctor Doom. But I could also get the Infinite. So then I just can't play it. I could also get
Yes.
Apocalypse, which just doesn't do anything. I could get Agatha, which isn't that great. Spectrum is dependent on the deck. Probably not going to be great. Null could be fantastic in the right matchup. Living Tribunal could actually mess me up more than it could help me on often occasions. Blob would be cool. Conchu doesn't matter. East doesn't matter in most cases. Gore can be fine. Giganto's limiting. Helicarrier doesn't do anything. Destroyer can be backbreaking. Sasquatch can be okay. Base Hulk doesn't do anything. Red Hulk can be buffed. So like the same thing that I see now that I saw when he first was released is plenty of cool upsides, a lot of pretty bad downsides, and then almost just as many doesn't do anything, and now it's just still a 612. So
Yeah,
that
I feel like it's about thirds. If there's like 5 that hurt you, there's a
mhm.
chunk that are just you're ambivalent, and then there's some that are like game breaking if you're able to get them. But it's just like that unpredictable
Yeah, no, yeah.
nature. Whether it's on conquest or on ladder, like you can come out with this power that the opponent's not able to predict.
I will say in Conquest, if I was if I was playing way more Conquest, and if they made Conquest more attractive to play, because I love the mode, but it's still missing stuff that makes it that uber competitive mode that I want it to be.
Yeah.
So if they gave me more incentive or changed some of the stuff to bring it to that competitive forefront that I want, I'd be more interested in getting Emperor Hulkling because that seems like a very amazing conquest mode type of card where like sure the unpredictability can help you in ladder, but I find once you're in the later half of well actually a later half of the season and b the later half like latter half of like where you're about to hit infinite in those mid 90s high 90s, opponents are way more skittish against snapping and will leave immediately. So snapping off of like a Emperor Hulkling, like, oh, we got something really cool for me that can win me the game. People just end up leaving anyway. Where Conquest might be a bit different. Sometimes you're forced to stay in based on how late the game's going.
Yeah, for sure. He's also like he's in all of my high voltage decks.
Mhm.
And that seems to be Snap's favorite limited time game mode. So I get a lot of legwork out of him there.
But yeah, I mean, Premium Pass is fantastic car. You said you were avoiding getting them for the longest time, but you caved in part. Was it because of this deck here?
No, so I don't have it. I'm
You
gonna
still
pick
don't
it up
have
on
it.
the 5th with all
Ah,
the free to play peeps. Yep.
are you going to do the same for next month's? the upcoming
I think
pass?
so,
Which let's
unless
take a look
this
at that real quick.
yeah, so we're looking at Galactus as the season pass
Yep.
and the Silver Surfer First Steps as the super premium. We can talk about Galactus in a sec and the super premium card because a lot of like the pay to win is like how integral do we think this card is going to be to the top end of the meta?
Hmm.
She's a 3/4 end of turn. If you're winning this location with an on reveal card, copy its text. So as long as you have tempo advantage, you can get multiple activations out of some form
Hmm.
of a on reveal.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Prodigy in a way. Instead of it just being instantaneous, it's just like, and having to line up, of course, where it is. Now it's just
Right.
one of these on reveals in this location, which you can curate your plays and your deck to ensure that you always hit the on reveal you want to hit by just making that the lone on reveal in that location, for example. And then
Yep.
getting a second one, and
I mean,
it's
it's kind
interesting
of
because it's immediately that turn. So like unlike
yes.
things like Iron Patriot, where you telegraph to your opponent, next turn I'm going to try to win this location to get my benefit. This you can catch people off guard in certain locations in which they're not going to play into it anyway. So, for example, someone might play down like a Nebula. I know we don't see Nebula too often as much anymore as we used to, but as an
Sure.
example, someone could have a Nebula lane and you want to play into that lane anyway to try and stop it from growing. Most players are not going to actively try to establish their Nebula lane further because they want to force you to play into that lane while they grow their other two lanes. That's usually the game plan. So this can be a nice way to stop a Nebula from growing and then be able to catch them off guard. And wow, now I have another on reveal for whatever I played into that lane earlier, stuff like that. So
Right.
I do think that's where she's a lot more interesting and can be pretty good. It's just I'm trying to think of like, yeah,
I mean,
uh,
she seems way better than Fantastic Car. Like this card seems pretty dangerous. If you
mhm,
have you know, your Silver Surfer deck, you're stacking cards. You play Gwenpool. You play this behind. You get an extra activation of Gwenpool
yep.
on turn 5. That's pretty cracked, especially if you're able to then get lucky and you follow up with the conventional Silver Surfer, and then he's the one that she chooses to repeat later on. You could just, or I mean, you could just play Silver Surfer on 3 and then play her behind, and then just like stack power so that he keeps going at the end of every single turn. Um, Fun cooks, Brad.
Well, it
Fun
wouldn't
cooks.
be
Maybe
every
I'm gonna
single.
be spending $20. I don't know.
It wouldn't be. Is this? Oh, wait. It doesn't have a once per game. So does this just
No, it's end
continuously
of
go
turn. It's
off?
until you play Invisible Woman and it goes off twice. The end of every
Oh,
turn.
I just assumed it'd be a once and done type of
No,
thing.
no,
It
no, no.
just
So
keeps
the
going.
criteria is you have to stay winning, but with this
Yeah.
ability, you might be able to guarantee you stay winning.
Oh, that's dumb. Um, yeah, I'm
Brett was like, "It's okay," and he's evaluating it on going once a game,
right.
and then he's like, "Oh
Well,
no."
because like I'm sorry, this feels like common sense to me. Shouldn't this have a once per game text on it? Isn't that just insane to continuously
No,
go
it
off?
has counterplay. The opponent can play against you and try and stop you.
Yeah, but you are always guaranteed the element of surprise on that first turn to be able to
The first turn, you are
like
guaranteed the element of surprise. That is true.
so like
So
that's why that's how I was evaluating. I'm like, okay, this is good on that first turn to be like, I'm gonna like just try to win it. Um
right.
yeah, that's really silly. Also, like, it'd be funny. You could just simply like something as simple as like Mr. Sinister in one lane and then play her after you win and then you get a copy of now you get a 4. So you go to 14 power right there. Um because it'd be 2 and 2, that's 4 plus her, that's oh no, that's 8, that's 12. 12
Hang
power.
on. Yeah, it's
'Cause
copy its
so
text.
she would make a copy of herself as a 3/4, right? So she would get another.
Oh, you're right. So it only goes once because once it copies the text, it overwrites
Yeah, okay, that makes
hers, right?
sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So it
okay.
is once.
Right. Okay.
And then it's
That's the
her
key.
taking on that ability. So yeah, if she copied Mr. Sinister, you'd get the 4 power clone.
And it
If
would
she
not continuously
copied
just go off.
Black
Okay.
Panther, it's not that she reactivates Black Panther, it's that she would go to 8.
Yep.
Yes, yes, yes. Still fun.
Still a very good card, I think.
Yeah,
Um, and my whole thing with the premium pass is like it's fine. I think it's fine. If you want it early, you can get it early. You're not gonna never get this card. You just can wait a month. Now, that could be a double-edged sword, right? Because let's say they have the reaction time that they've had to certain cards in the past when it comes to the super premium, or not the super premium, but the premium pass in general. And they're like, yeah, next month we nerf it because we want to gather at least 4 weeks of data, kind of thing, whatever their justification is. And then it gets nerfed right after you get it when it goes into series four, for example, right?
right.
Now you're going to be sad because you missed out on the whole first month of it being quote unquote broken. And now you got the nerfed version right when you got it. Though the flip side's true because they've reacted pretty quickly to certain season pass cards in either nerfs or buffs within the first like week or two. So this could be an instance where it's like, hey, you're like Teddy here and you're waiting for next month's release anyway. You don't want to get the premium season pass. And then now she gets nerfed. Well, Teddy, you didn't pay money for a card that got nerfed in 2 weeks, and you can now evaluate it on its current state in about 2 weeks from now and kind of figure out if you want to get it
Exactly.
now.
You also,
Or it gets buffed and you
yep.
got it later. So like it goes both ways. I understand the frustration from some people, but I think it's fine at the end of the day. It's not the end of the world. It's okay.
The great thing for me is now there's been so much time. Everybody's worked with Fantasticar already. So once I get it, I can just be like, this is like the good deck to start with rather than
Yeah.
going in blind, which I appreciate the more and more my time is limited in Snap. For her, is there a way that we can like break the game with Odin? Because then you have like a duplicate of abilities that you get to then double reactivate or something. I'm not quite seeing it. Like Odin is so series one. I don't think he's gonna
Yeah, there's not
rise
a
to any
whole lot
prominence.
of Odin stuff right now.
No,
And
it
like
would be like
even in
actually
a
Kahori, right? Like if you can do
oh
Kahori
yeah.
and then her, and then you could Odin the Kahori plus her stack for like a board wide kind of all lanes are given a buff. I don't know, but that's pretty tricky.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I thought for a moment like maybe lockdown stuff, but then like because like you could like guarantee your win a lane by getting it into like a storm location, but then there's a chance it gets the storm on reveal and not the
Yeah,
one you really care about that you hide behind there with like War Machine or whatever. So I don't know.
right.
But surely she's gonna be good. I can't see a world where she's not good.
Well, yeah, if she's not good, they'll just buff her raw power so it's easier to have
Yep.
tempo, and then you can more finely tune when you want to grab that ability.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right. Next thing, and I'm going back to this deck here because of the
yeah,
next portion, is so
yeah, yeah.
last episode we talked about Surge being the new Mr. Fantastic. Well, now this episode we're going to look and see, hey, I'm sorry, is the new Zabu, not Mr. Fantastic. Mr. Fantastic now, as you see me crossing out Surge, is the new Zabu being played in every deck, is what we mean by that. Just how Zabu was just everywhere for the longest time. Surge is still everywhere, to be fair, but I think I see more Mr. Fantastic than Surge as of late because it's just a bit easier. It's just to play it, you leave it alone. Surge, there's a little thought process of like, okay, well, I hit this card that was on top. Maybe I can't play it yet because it got reduced. It was a 5 cost, so I have to skip turn anyway. Or it's a card that's a little awkward to play right now. So I want to wait and potentially play it later on. So I miss out on a turn of buffing. Fantastic says, I don't care. I'm going to give something in your hand some power or something in your hand some -1 cost. And he's everywhere.
Oh yeah, he's just so good, and I do see a lot of them together,
Yep, I agree.
which it's nice to see the Mobius M Mobius buff because he's looking increasingly desirable in this world where there's just like all these passive energy cheats that are getting thrown around.
Mhm.
But yeah, Mr. Fantastic, really, really fun. Do we have a calculation really on like what the break even is for him? Because I feel like even if he just goes once, you're fairly happy.
I
Like,
agree. Because
as long as
oftentimes
you,
I'll
as long
see,
as obviously you're able to play that card that he triggers. But like, if you
yeah,
play him on turn 5 and then he hits something that you wanted to play, I'm pretty happy with that value. And then of course, if I can play him on 2, that's almost a snap condition, unless like you're in this kind of solve the meta state where they're hunting him with a red guardian and they're
yep,
also playing it. You want to know if they get theirs down before you would snap and whatnot. But yeah,
yeah.
Mr. Fantastic.
What is his? Let me go back on Snap.fan real quick, and
Yeah,
look at see what they say his play rate is. The number
play
two
rate is
card, it
stats.
says 30% on Snap.fan. Now, what is that listed as on Untapped? Because I know their data is different. Um,
Yeah.
so
So
Untapped
off the top of your head,
cards.
do you like this? Because on the one hand, like this card is the next Zabu, this card is the next Zabu. There will always be a card like that.
Yep.
The question is like how much it's pushed compared to everything else, right? And how one dimensional that slot of your deck is. Like if it's edging out all the other 2 costs, it's a problem. But if there's a bunch of really powerful 2 costs, I think that's fine.
Hmm.
The problem is right now is really there's 2 really powerful 2 costs that are generic, and anything else that's powerful is like pretty specialized. And so you just see Surge and Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah. So looking at Untapped, their order of events here as far as popularity goes, and these are really crazy win rates, by the way, I want to say. 31% Shang-Chi, which I mean, Shang-Chi is usually one of the top like 1 through 5 cards in any given meta. I think there
Yes.
was a period where he fell off for some reason. I don't even remember what meta this was, but he was like outside the top 5, like number 7, number 8 for a period of time, down to like 12,
Astonishing.
13%. And then people just kind of figured out, oh yeah, this card is one of the most important cards in the entire game. We need to play this again. And he's been
Yep.
back at number 1 for a while. But then you have
Now,
these
is
two.
this including the limited time game mode data? Because yeah,
That's a
Shang is like 100%
wonderful,
include in Grand Arena,
yeah, that's a
which might be
wonderful
part of why he's
option.
number 1 right now. But just throwing that out there.
It says this is based on 10 through 79. I don't have premium right now. And then players with at least pool 3 and up.
Okay, so it's ranked, I
So
guess.
it's just we're looking at ranked alone.
Cool.
Um, so yeah, so this like could be a little bit different because it's not including everything. Because again, I don't want to pay for Untapped anymore. I don't use it enough. But Fantastic is 27%, Surge is 28%. If we look at over here in Snap.fan, they're saying he's 30%, which can I see play? Is there a way to on Snap.fan just see like the most played, like the list, same thing as Untapped? Or is it just
Mm,
5 to click on the individual cards? Uh
yeah, so you go to cards and then stats on the drop down,
uh
if that makes sense.
where? Oh, I
Yeah,
see
so
it.
if you go to cards and then there's cards,
Yep.
variants, series, stats, history,
Oh, so
stats,
now
that
it
actually
says
puts
he's
Mr.
number
Fantastic
1,
at the top. Yeah, with a scene
34,
percentage of 34%, which is
then Surge,
unbelievable.
then
And then
Shang-Chi.
Shang. So they
But
just reshuffled those top
look at the
3.
fall off though of this. And now, of course, take this with a grain of salt, everyone that's watching, listeners and viewers, because the um the data that we're seeing is based on Snap.fan's tracker, Untapped's tracker. So people with these trackers installed or available or they're logged in, tied to their account, whatever the case may be, that is only a fraction of the entire player base. The only person or the only people that have the true percentage of what's being played, their win rates, all that stuff, is of course Second Dinner, and they will never release that data. So,
Unfortunately.
because Glenn flat out says he doesn't like releasing data like that. He comes from a
Yeah.
Magic background in play design, where Magic was a bit more willing to release data through like MTGO tournaments and things like that. And it kind of led to more solved metas when people could see raw data. But with that being said, Mr. Fantastic being 34%, 32% for Surge, 29% Shang-Chi, and then a over 10% fall off to the next one there with Merlin, then Gwenpool, Galacta, Brood, Zabu, Killmonger, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, we're seeing a lot of stuff from the Surfer list showcasing
Oh
towards
yeah.
the top. Um, Merlin is just a very good 2 drop in general. Shang-Chi just your catch-all, and then just, you know, energy manipulation at the very top, which is always going to be the
Yeah,
case.
it's fun seeing Merlin in there as well as like the other generic good 2 cost. I feel like Merlin is a little bit more specialized, like you do a little bit more deck building kind of around
Hmm.
him and what he's going to be bringing, but you do have all three of those. And then, hey, the old Sabu is still up here as well in the top 10.
Yeah.
So some fun stuff. I don't know if I necessarily have a change I would want to see to Mr. Fantastic beyond just like, I don't know, take him down to a 2-1.
He could easily be a 2-1. Um, and
Yeah.
it would probably just not
Just
change
be a
a
nudge.
crazy lot.
Just be a little. I mean, him and Surge could get both hit to be 2-1s. Though simultaneously, we're seeing a bunch of buffs, like Domino got brought up a power.
Yep.
They're just like considering the base power of what 2 costs provide is higher. So if we could see a couple other cards get brought up, then maybe we see a little bit more diversity of that generic kind of 2 cost slot. The thing is that when you have utility from these guys in the form of an energy cheat, that is so powerful, especially to put on a flexible 2 cost card, that I think even if other like quote unquote stat stick 2 costs are buffed,
Mhm.
those two, Surge and Mr. Fantastic, are going to stay on top.
Oh, for sure. And again, that just comes down to energy manipulation. Like the whole reason we're even making the comparison to Zabu is because Zabu is like one of the OG of just cheat out energy, reduce card cost, that kind of
Yeah.
thing, and just be in every
Yeah,
kind of deck. Um,
exactly.
so I mean, no matter what happens, anything that's just especially being a 2 cost. Like if any of these were 3 costs, like look at Fastos for example. Fastos is a great example for why 2 versus 3 is such a huge breaking point. Being a
Yep.
3/4 doesn't matter for Fastos in the sense of like your power output into hitting your deck. It's just if it was a 2 cost, you'd see all three of these in the same deck the entire time.
Oh, if
Um,
Fastos was a 2 cost. Oh yeah, like I like Fastos, but
I do
he's
too.
way better balanced than the other guys.
Yep. Now, just because we're already on the topic, our little order here, I'm gonna actually jump ahead and skip Grand Arena for now. We'll go right back to it in a second because I think it's
Ooh,
more
okay. Okay.
relevant to just go straight into this deck that's on screen.
Yep.
Which is since we're talking about Mr. Fantastic, and we were talking about the super premium season pass. Well, this is a deck that has kind of taken over. Um, Regis was one of the ones that really kind of like brought eyes to it in the first place with his content, one of his first ideas. And then we've seen essentially different renditions of it throughout the last like week and a half or so since the Invisible one just came out. And it is
Yeah.
this Sunspot Marvel Boy, Prodigy, copying Invisible in First Steps. New Black Cat is a 1/5 to go on this list as well. Havoc, Thena, of course, Mr. Fantastic. I have Adam Warlock in the list personally because I liked the ability to just find my Invisible Woman and Prodigy more
Yeah.
consistently with the card
They're
draw.
so core.
Yeah. So the traditionally it was Bruce Banner is what most people were having in that 2 slot there. And I don't like that card. I don't have it. I'm not going to get it. I think it's a bad card, even at
Yeah.
33% chance to grow. I don't like leaving things up to math, especially when the math is so against my favor. Let me get pure raw card draw. And this deck is very, very, very good. So
Yeah,
how
it
do you
kind
feel about
of
it?
goes crazy here by being able to scale up. And then we're looking at, again, talking about what's the next new Zabu. What Zabu did in his heyday was reshape how they had to balance every forecast because of what Zabu was potentially going to do. So the
Yeah.
forecasts were actually balanced around being included with Zabu rather than being on their own. And if Invisible Woman First Steps stays the way she is, we're going to have to see a rebalance, I think, of the end of turn abilities the same way. Because initially here, they were all balanced to be played on their own. And they were like, fringe cases, you were seeing these cards crop up. And now, in a deck that's able to get them to activate an additional, it's two additional times relatively reliably.
Well, it's a multiplier. So
Yes.
one thing that a lot of people, including myself, upon reading her, because unfortunately it doesn't really explain it as well as you'd like it to. Let me get rid of this thing again here. It says this turn, your end of turn abilities happen twice. That seems like it's just 2 times and that's it. But once you
Right.
actually
It's not
include,
repeat them one more time, it's a 2x.
yeah. So then
So
once you do like Prodigy stuff too, you're looking at like 8
yeah,
times like for these things
right.
happening and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. So you get this one, they could just change that exponential scaling, but I still think that we're in the position where even without the Prodigy like pile on,
Mhm.
the deck is really lethal.
Yeah. No, I agree. The Prodigy thing is just like gravy. Like your typical line is like you go a 1 cost, then typically like ideally Mr. Fantastic on 2, or Adam Warlock in my case. You could do Thena as well. Basically anything but Havoc is essentially what I'm saying as your 2 costs.
Yeah.
And then turn
Yeah.
3 Invisible Woman, turn 4 another 1 cost in the Invisible Woman lane and Prodigy in the same lane. So you hit the Invisible Woman and then you're set. You're set from there. You just go.
Right.
And the
Cosmo
amount of
doesn't stop
times,
you.
yep, the amount of times I've gotten
Um,
that lineup and my opponent instantly retreats before their cards even flip on that same turn that they see the Prodigy come down is a lot. And on
yeah.
top of that, I don't have premium, but the numbers for this deck in the last 7 days is pretty crazy. Teddy, I don't know if you have premium
Are
or
they kind
not.
of good? I do
So
not.
this one says 400 and 400 games played, 70% win rate is what it's listed at on Untapped. And I'm sure it's a little bit lower than that when you include like infinite and stuff like that. If you have premium, please let us know and check. Again, I just don't want to purchase premium.
Yeah, but a little bit lower than 70% is still obscene.
It's ridiculous. And sure, small sample size, 400 games. I promise you, this has way more than 400 games played.
Oh yeah.
Regis's
Yeah, yeah,
video
yeah.
of this exact deck here has like 100K like views, or at least like 50K views. That's what he always averages, pretty much. So like,
Yeah,
and I see
it's super
this
good.
every other deck is this deck I play against. So
Right. And if it's like, oh, they wildly didn't own Fantastic Art, but then they swapped in the Thing or the Human Torch
yep,
or something like this.
pretty much.
Yep.
It's just super good, super efficient to the point where the way I've been actually dealing with it, Teddy, is I'm in post infinite and I see it a lot. So I'm playing this deck here, playing control. Featuring old school Invisible Woman. Look at
Ooh,
that.
out here to beat down first steps. The variant world can't keep up with the OG. She got buffed 2-4.
Yep. And being
That's
able
not
to
the reason we're playing
hide
her, but
Killmonger or like Shadow King behind
yeah.
her.
Yeah.
The only thing that's awkward is like hiding Shang-Chi and not being able to do the Fenrir's Wolf shenanigans of
Oh,
getting that power
sure,
back.
sure.
That's the only hiccup I've found with Invisible Woman. A little awkward there. But besides that, sure, you watch their sunspot grow like crazy at the end of the last turn, and you watch their havoc grow like crazy, and then you don't care. You just flip over a Killmonger Shadow King, and you're like, oh, cool, I win. It's been great. Been having fun with it.
I love it. It's so mean.
It's
But
just,
it needs to be there so that it can be balanced. That is, so the end of turn stuff is like a little bit of a new horizon for us because it does get around a lot of the contemporary controller cards.
mhm.
Um, so you're relying really heavily on that Red Guardian to go hunting and then some like extra legwork in the control tech to bring Invisible Woman and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Which it's fine. It's just it's taking us a while to adapt, and I wonder if they are going to add kind of future iterations of control cards that are able to service this specific kind of situation, like what we can use against the end of turn abilities.
Well, we have one coming up that could be super interesting. Um,
Ooh, this a little segue I hear.
just a little teeny tiny segue. It's gonna be where'd it go? Where's the cosmic surf or cosmic boy? Oh, he's way down here. So
Yep.
Cosmic Ghost Rider is one option that could really counter a lot of this stuff.
Yes.
Remove the text from the front row enemy cards here. Well, in that Invisible One deck, you kind of want her to be in the front row for the Prodigy hit.
you're playing her to guarantee that prodigy. You're also using Mr. Fantastic Surge throughout the game. I
Yep.
would kind of love to see Cosmic Ghost Rider get a shadow buff to a 4 cost.
Yeah.
Heck, even if it's 4/3, like it might still be relevant to just that earlier hit on all of these end of turn engine pieces would be so big.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, this could be a cool thing. Like more things that remove text from cards to be able to stop this end of turn stuff. Just once we
Yeah,
get more cards like that in that fluctuates throughout the meta, that could help balance things around.
right. Even if there was like a temporary one, right? Like a cheap card that's just like for one turn,
Ooh,
none of your
like the
opponents have text
yeah, like the
across
equivalent
from it.
of the eagle from Snowguard, like for
Yeah, yeah.
locations where it just shuts locations off for the
Yes,
rest of
there
the
you go,
turn.
for one turn, but
Yeah,
all the enemy carded text in that lane for one turn.
yeah, I think that'd be really
I
cool.
second dinner. I'm my resume is open and available. You have my Discord.
And then real quick before we get to the new cards in general, I just want to because we want to touch on this real quick. We can go right back up to the grand arena and just give our thoughts on that. Teddy, what did you think of the mode as I'm pulling it up?
So I've played a ton of it. I think it's been pretty fun. I love the bones. I kind of wish that we got like an updated champion because it ran for 2 weeks, right? I
Mhm.
wish that they had had a switch up planned midway through of like add someone in, take someone out, change a ban list kind of idea because it got a little bit stale. You're just running some variants on what the meta decks already are. So I've just been running like high evolutionary, the thing, invisible woman,
Yeah.
and smacking people, which it's fun. It's also addicting to have the extra energy. So that
Mhm.
like all around has been quite fun. And I love just the basis of there will periodically be a time where players can play with these pre-constructed decks to get a feel for new cards that are not necessarily in their collection. Um, so I love a lot of the ideas here in the Grand Arena, but I think that there could be some some improvements that are still made to the mode to keep people engaged.
I would actually love to see this mode stick around permanently and
Yeah.
be an alternate ranked mode. I'd love it.
Alternate ranked mode. So not necessarily alternate to conquest. Because I feel like ranked is always your mainstay, but I'd be
Yeah.
okay with there's like 2 weeks of conquest and then 2 weeks of either Sanctum Sanctorum or 2 weeks of this.
No, no, I mean like so in looking at Arena, for example, for Magic, there's a best
Yeah.
of 1 ranked queue and there's a best of 3 ranked queue. There's also
Okay.
a ranked ladder for limited modes like draft and like
Sure.
sealed and stuff like that. You can achieve a ranked by playing those modes. Just give me this permanently and give me a rank for it. I think the idea of having a knob to balance the champion idea with the skill that attaches to them is super
Yes.
interesting,
Very
um,
fun.
and is such a cool idea. And on top of
Okay, so
that,
actually you should go full Gwent mode, right? So you have a ranked leaderboard for every champion.
yeah,
And then you can give out cosmetics and so you can show off like I was the top 10 Mr.
yep.
Fantastic arena player kind of thing.
And I would go as far as to say no customs at all. Period.
Oh.
Only
Oh,
pre-builts.
interesting.
Only pre-builts. The reason for that is it is far easier, in my opinion, to manage the pre-build decks and tweak and balance them by removing like strong, like here, like for example, Shang-Chi's in this Herbie deck, right? And
Yep.
he's pretty much not in any of the other ones. And
So it's
that's a pretty
immediately
big difference off rip, right? Um,
yeah,
so maybe you just say, cool, well, this deck, the Flame On deck's been really underperforming. We want to throw in a Shang-Chi for them and remove like either one of the Galactus or Gwenpool or something. Maybe there's Iron Man,
right.
something along those lines, right? It's an easier knob to adjust by balancing the actual skill that accompanies your champions and the actual list itself based on the data you
Right.
get, rather than trying to
It
curate
can
an entire ban list all season for like because like you just what you ban Shang-Chi, you ban Eliath, you ban stuff like that. Or instead of worrying about that, You just don't include those cards in the pre-builds. It's like a pseudo
Right.
ban list already, but without the more I guess like the optics of it is less of a feels bad because like if someone really likes playing with X card and now it's banned, they may not just want to
Yeah.
play the mode anymore. Whereas
Sure.
if you just said this is the deck you play with off rip, that's what you get. They're going to be more
Yeah.
receptive to that idea.
You approach it with a different mental space for sure.
Yeah.
The pre-built, or sorry, the interface for setting up your custom decks is very clunky. I will say
Oh,
that.
it's
So
horrible.
getting around that would be nice. So you don't have to click this button, go to edit, then do your edits, and then go back to the mode, and then select your champion, and then select play. It's just like too many different levels there. It could also be a fun ground that Second Dinner could use to test either card balance changes or new cards in the form of the spells, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because then you could get a lot of data of like, I don't know, make a card basically the equivalent of a Valkyrie at a 4 cost, which the community has been asking about for a while. It's like you could actually have people run a ton of games with that being the case. And then see where you want to go. Yeah, you could create an entire ecosystem where there's no Shang and no Enchantress and be like, all right, but there is Rogue and there is Shadow King,
Mm-hmm.
and see how players respond, stuff like this.
Yeah, I think that'd be amazing. And then also like you can curate your champions each season to be like, hey, now we're rotating out these champions because it's not Fantastic Four season anymore. We're gonna try out a I mean, I just saw cards, so my immediate thought was Venom, but like, a
Yep.
Venom this time as your champion. Or instead of it being Doctor Doom as like one of the big bads, it's actually like Magneto itself. It's centered around Magneto, and like you have X-Men, like you have a Cyclops
could-
champion deck.
They could make a Kang deck with a spell that makes Kang playable. They could.
Did you see that Glenn
Can you
answered a question
imagine?
about that, saying he has a prototype
Oh,
adjustment for Kang they're playtesting right now? This is like 3 weeks ago. So
oh,
Kang
very
rework is
exciting.
apparently on the horizon. Finally.
I love it.
Um,
I think if you were going to do all pre-builds, there'd have to be more champions on a season, but
I
obviously
agree.
that would come with like they could leave a couple of these as a
Yeah,
holdover
you could
and a
make
couple new
like the
ones.
this Doctor Doom one could be an evergreen one, for example,
Yeah,
right? Or the
exactly. But
Destroy could
you
be
could just
evergreen.
rename what the champion is, right? You could have that one be led by Magneto
Yep.
with a different spell, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
it's the same deck.
Yeah, I think just super cool mode. Would love to see it stick around permanently and maybe do some more stuff on that.
Yep. Now, if you had to choose between what was the evergreen, a arena or a draft, you still got to go draft, right?
Probably. I think that's just from a business perspective is way more
Yeah.
financially stable, and you're gonna
That
have
seems
more
to be
people
what
consistently, will play that
there's a
mode.
sub community that love draft
Yep.
and will come and stay in your game if you have that.
Now, I personally might gravitate more towards this than draft,
Mm,
just
yeah.
because this is unique, and I would love to see Snap have something that they can stand on their own with and be unique, be something that's genuine just for Snap only. And
Yep.
draft is something that pretty much every card game has, which is
Right.
fine. I think draft is fun. I like draft, but I like to see more unique stuff like this. But honestly, just give me both. Just give me both. Stop playing
Yeah,
around.
no, absolutely. And
China's build has draft right
they
now,
have it currently. I
and they
know.
have had it for like what 5 months
working.
now, 6 months. Like
Oof.
it was sometime last year they got it. I thought maybe at the very beginning of the year they got it. Don't remember
Yeah, I
which,
don't
but
remember when I saw the article, but I think that was after it had already been in their game for a little while.
yeah,
And yeah, like Snap's take on what draft is going to have to be unique
yep,
compared to what it is in other card games. So, and I do think that, Second Dinner genuinely is a creative design studio. So I'm
hmm
very excited to see what their flair for that mode is. Yeah, and it's really interesting. It's also interesting that the two, I think, best received, right? I mean, it's unquestionably Sanctum Sanctorum and Grand Arena are the best
hmm
received limited time game modes. They don't involve snapping.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I agree. I think the ones I have the most fun getting away from the ranked mode without snapping is just because like I like being able to just like be encouraged to stay in the game and see what
yeah,
happens. That's what makes it fun. Like there's a reason why you see so many content creators when they're streaming. Regis again is a great example of this. he almost never snaps because he wants to see the games through. He doesn't want to encourage his opponents to retreat. He wants to see the cool
Right.
things happen. That's the content of it. That's why we play the game, for the fun, amazing things. And like, sure, it makes it more
Yeah.
interesting when both of us snap and now it's an 8-cuber. Like, oh, we got to see what happens. But that's so few and far between now compared to 2 or 3 years ago when the game first was like in its infancy. Because people were way more aware of the poker element of the snap. So just leave.
It's also that snap already plays so quickly. You don't feel trapped in a match that you're losing for long enough for it to feel too bad, right? Like I
Right.
feel like Magic might actually benefit more from a snap mechanic because their games are longer than Snap itself does, which that could be a topic for another podcast. I feel like that we
Yeah.
could explore that for a while.
Yeah. I think that'd be a cool idea. Yeah. The snap mechanic could be really cool in other games and like alternate modes for those respective games. So like they've done a great job with that mechanic in general. It's just, it's funny that we just like to get away from it
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at these new cards, and let's see if there's any particular card we want to try to do like a just like our Dormammu cook, a little quick build around.
Oh,
Um,
bad memories. Man, Dormammu is so disappointing.
he got well, his buff
Uh,
was nice. He's I
that
think
was nice.
he's still a good card. It's just
Nope.
I think this no he I think he's a good card. I just think that he unfortunately works best in a destroy shell, and destroy right now is the weakest it's ever been as a whole.
Yeah,
Even with like even if
it's
you have the full power like Kid Omega version stuff like that with like Nimrod and everything, it's just the power output that you get in destroy now. You're like topping out at like the low 20s in each lane typically is kind of like where the average game for destroy is, where
yeah.
the average game for the Invisible Woman deck is like low 30s, So that's the issue.
Yeah. It's also that destroy is like the most solved archetype.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Like its core list is so locked in that whenever you try and shove something else in there, yeah, it has to bring a lot to the table.
Real quick for Dormammu, would you be okay with it actually working with cards like X23, Wolverine, like the regenerate cards? Like it adds a copy of a previous destroyed card to itself rather than having to be in the graveyard itself. I know that kind of messes with the flavor of the card a little bit, but as
Yeah.
far as gameplay, would you be fine with that as like a buff? It would make it way more consistent
So
in going off.
yes, I'm gonna say no in that, but for the reason that I would want Dormammu to push a slightly different card list. And if
Gotcha.
he's able to work with those cards
It locks
specifically,
him in.
then then it's just that same list with one alteration. I want to see some of the other stuff like Bucky get a better chance to shine.
Okay, what about another alternate being rather than him working with the graveyard, he works with banished.
Yeah, if he could touch banished cards, I mean, we're still keeping track of what they are. I know, like, fundamentally, they are, like, they're described as not being able to come back, but if Dormammu could, I mean, that would be cool if he could work with the banished cards. It would also be cool if he did not merge with them so that they could
Mhm.
still be resurrected by other effects. Like
Gotcha.
the 4/7 that brings your destroyed pile back to hand with the buff. Like I feel like Dormammu should work in this list where you're sacrificing stuff and then bringing it back. But when you use
Mhm.
Dormammu, he eats it in addition to the sacrifice, and you can't bring it back.
Right.
That's really what I want to see. Sorry, what's her name? I'm blanking.
Who? What?
The card, the 4/7 that resurrects. Is it Morgan Le Fay?
Morgan Le
Yeah.
Fay. Yeah. There's
Morgan Le
all the
Fay.
one cost stuff like that. Yeah. And also
Yep.
Ghost Rider.
I want
Uh,
Dormammu to work with
Ghost Rider is just discard. Sorry.
Elixir, and Morgan Le Fay because I feel like that is the flavor of the deck. Is I'm playing these little pawns, these little squirrels. I sacrifice the squirrel. Dormammu eats the squirrel. I summon a demon king, and then Morgan resurrects a zombie squirrel that is also attacking you. Like that's just fun.
Yeah. I mean, I would even be okay with them not absorbing the power at all, just if that makes it easier for them to balance around and just giving him a
Sure.
base power increase. And
There you
having
go.
the
He
only
gets a
thing,
flat buff
yeah, and the
based
only
on number of
thing,
cards in the discard pile or something
oh,
like
that
that.
could work, yeah. And the only thing that really buffs him could just be that second spell that uh
That's the good
or
spell.
or just have, better yet, why doesn't the, just flip it around. Instead of the first card merging with it, um like that's, make that just be like the main like one you're sacrificing him to him. The
Yep.
very last spell that, now that's the 2 cost that destroys 2 things, have those be the ones that merge with them at the end.
Okay. Okay.
Because
Sure.
you're losing them anyway in most cases, unless you're
Right.
doing like
Yeah, no,
X-23 Wolverine stuff.
at that point in the game, yeah, that's actually why the Wolverine X-23 list works
Yeah.
better, is because you don't want to be losing late game pieces that have stayed on the board, so you're trying to put that attack on the guys that regenerate,
Yep.
but then having to put the early attack on something that is able to go into the graveyard is making them all wonky. Dormammu can be streamlined a bunch.
Yeah.
Um, would love to see a rework of him alongside Kang. And I think he's close. He's a very fun idea, so I want him to be good, but he's just not right now, to me.
Well, looking at the new cards, we have the new season pass card, which is the Galactus First Steps. We thought about it briefly of doing the cook around him, but it's really not that interesting. It says, "My Herald is
Yep.
the next character I see you play," which is a cool new like way of phrasing a card. And also, I was trying to think of alternative ways they could say it to not have it be first person by Galactus. And no matter what I thought of, it read very clunky. So this seems like the best way to phrase it. End of turn,
Right.
+2 power if you're winning My Herald's location, whether he's in hand or in play. And Teddy, I talked with you earlier saying it'd be cool if you could do goblins, like just send a goblin
Yes,
on
you
their
could
side and
play.
junk kind of thing.
Yeah, you can play junk and then harass this one lane, because it could also be like the Hood Viper kind of combo, or
Mhm.
even like a Titania combo could end up playing to
Could.
Galactus's favor, where then your opponent is unable to break your lead at that location. And then
Yep.
he just scales up to be really big to be played in your other lane where you need to win. Um, I don't know if that's necessarily better than Junk's current game plan of Cannonball stifling the opponent out of the match either, but it
Yeah,
could be
with
the extra little
Mercury and stuff.
consistency piece. Is there a world where you can play, not really, this Galactus with OG Galactus? Could you have the OG Galactus be this Galactus's Herald and
That'd
then
be so funny.
follow it up?
That'd be really funny.
I please, second dinner, record a unique interaction where if OG Galactus is the Herald of Galactus, they say something.
That'd be funny. It'd be like the Spider-Man pointing meme.
Yes, that would be great. Galactus, but it's the Spider-Man pointing meme just pops up, and you're like, "What the heck?" And then the
Mhm.
opponent retreats because they know they're.
And honestly, just give the "what just happened" text onto Galactus. Have that emote
Yeah,
popped up.
yeah,
Like that'd be
yeah.
funny. So yeah,
That'd be
all in all,
great.
like Galactus doesn't feel like he has too many like cooks to really be had with, because at the end of the day, he's generic enough because it doesn't matter what the next card is; it'll always be the Herald, that he could just slot into literally anything you could think of. Honestly,
Right. You
um,
could call Galactus Blob. You could call Galactus Red Hulk.
yep,
It's just another flavor of the big dumb.
yep,
Um, I think the more interesting card to build around, and we did talk about this, is the Fallen One. 5/5 with a really fascinating effect. On reveal, set your max energy equal to this card's power. So you have two
for sure.
avenues to infinite energy. One is cheating him out earlier in the game, and two is going to be buffing his power. We talked about using Shuri
Right.
to double up, and then you're looking at, so he would come down at 10, set your max energy to 10. Having your max energy set on turn 5 should not, to my understanding, interfere with getting the +1 on turn 6. So you should have 11 energy by turn 6 if you play him with Shuri. We talked about using Symbiote Spider Man as a way to get even more. That would bring you up to 13 energy on turn 6, which would facilitate 2 6-cost card plays, which is obscene. You could also just use like a wave into playing him on 4, which ramps you, but not as impressive as 13 energy on the final turn. That's I think a pretty succinct way to put it. So it seems like buffing him is probably the way that you're gonna see the crazy combos happen.
Yeah, well, you can have the wave in there just for potential consistency's sake.
Right. Wave is good,
Thinking
like just in general.
Forge.
Well, if we use like magic, we could wave and then play a ton of. We'd have
Oh,
14
that's a
energy on turn
good
7.
point.
And then you could play 3 6 cost cards in one turn.
So I'm just trying to build together a potential list here. So we
Yeah.
got the main 4 cost stuff: the Shuri, the Spidey, the Symbiote Spider-Man, the Wave to eventually get it a little earlier, Magic to extend turns anyway, Forge to buff. Do we want anything else buffing similar to also, how do we feel about Astral Projection as a thing in this deck? Too clunky, right? There's too many on reveals to try to like get him going.
Yeah, that's interesting because the Fallen One, if Astral Projection pulls his ability, does it set you to 0? Or does it, without any power on the ability, do nothing?
Putting Ronan as the
Uh,
fallen one placeholder.
yeah.
There's really trying to think of like other stuff. Like you want some early games, so you're not just all in on like the 6 things. I think you just have like 3 6 costs maybe in total in the list. To kind of
Yeah,
be
so what
something
is the
cute.
high end off the Shuri here? And can we do a Sunspot Invisible Woman
That's a
angle?
great
Because you
point.
could also play Taskmaster and She-Hulk.
Okay, but now are we getting too clunky with that
We
top
might
end?
be,
Because
but it's
because
just
like I mean, if you magic, you can get that right.
yes,
So but now we need more end of turn stuff to make the invisible one worth it. And I have one more
right. So
slot.
probably cut Forge for Mr. Fantastic, of course. Like
Hmm.
what were we thinking? Mr.
Oh,
Fantastic does it,
yeah.
but better.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
and then like one more. I mean, your other it would be, I know you love
Okay.
the purple cloud, but it could just be like Red Hulk, who's also end of turn. Or the thing.
True. Yeah, could be the thing. We could also just have Havoc in there as your other whatever.
Yep.
And if we do that, is there a word where you just have the She-Hulk Taskmaster as your 6 cost and that's it?
The other one is the Infinite, right? Because is does it actually map out to have Sunspot on 1, Sunspot on 1, Mr. Fantastic on 2, Magic on 3?
Then it'd be
It doesn't fit to do
no
the Invisible
invisible.
Woman Shuri
Yeah, the typical plan would
all
be
in one.
Sunspot, Fantastic, Magic, Shuri, Fallen One, pass on 6, She-Hulk, Taskmaster, Havoc, and then all the other energy go to Sunspot.
Yeah.
Um, so the invisible one just
Is it
feels like more of a backup plan for when you don't have the Shuri into Fallen One stuff going on, you know?
yeah. It's the high roll is so delicious
Right.
that there has to be something here. At the same time, it could just be that Galacta Gwenpool is the better version with the fallen one here,
Yeah, so
right?
if we trim that whole Sunspot package, and just actually got rid of the She-Hulk stuff too. I mean, also, like, though it does feel kind of weird to not have Sunspot on the list in those events where you just got him down early and you have all that extra energy, right? It feels like
Yeah.
like you need Sunspot in there. It just makes sense. You just don't have to the
Oh yeah,
invisible one
so
thing.
like we said, if there's 13 energy on this final turn, you could full pass Invisible Woman, activate, and get 26 power on our friend the Sunspot.
So if we did that, do we want Zabu with all these 4 costs?
Maybe.
Because at least if you go Zabu, it gives you a chance to go Gwenpool or Galacta on 3 and then Shuri on 4 into your normal shenanigans. Do we even care about the
That would be
wave?
nuts. But yeah, I'm just thinking, right? Like the more reliable you have Galacta into Fallen One, you're only going up to 7 instead of up to 10.
Mm-hmm.
But that's still, it's basically Wiccan at a little, what, a turn delay. It's only going to play into your final turn. I don't know. It's close to being good.
Then what 6 cost do you want to have in there to try to make use of this extra
Tangent, Brad.
stuff?
Why do we not play Wiccan anymore? Wiccan was like #1 meta. He was not changed
Probably
himself.
because his best deck was Thanos, and it's just far less consistent now.
Wow.
So
But
people,
his
rather than branch out and say, let's see if we can get
interesting.
Wiccan to be good somewhere else, they just say, I don't want to play with you anymore, like Andy in Toy Story, and move on to the next
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Wow. Time
We
to bring
as
him
a
back.
we as a
Bring back
community,
Wiccan.
Teddy, are just unfortunately uncreative. I feel, because we see this almost every meta. The previous
Yeah.
deck that was perfectly fine, really good. People were just like, eh. One
But the
card
new
got
toy is
changed by 1
shinier.
power. Bye bye. That's like my biggest pet
Agamotto's
peeve.
over Agamotto and Wiccan over here on the bench. Like, bro, we were #1 draft pick. What
Yeah.
happened?
And Agamotto's still really good. People were calling for the nerf of like his skills and nothing happened.
Yeah, he actually was both of them completely unchanged. But just not their time to shine, I suppose.
It's hard to not put Eliath in this. I'm sorry.
You just Brad loves his
I
Eliath.
can't
You
I
know
can't
it.
quit him. I can't quit the boy. Then I guess Red Hulk, maybe? No.
Yep. I mean, Red
Yeah.
Hulk's good, but it could just be Galactus. Like, he's a placeholder, right? You play a big dumb at the high end.
I mean, honestly, you could just play the new Galactus.
Yes.
So
That's what I was thinking.
yeah. Because like all these could be heralds. Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
I love it.
go a lot of different ways with it. You could also
Yep.
go, instead of doing the 6 costings at the top, you could trim these and just do more small stuff. That way you have like a just disgusting explosion. Like do like 2 costs, for
Well,
example.
so it's you could just play the Sarah Surfer deck, but instead of Sarah, it's the Fallen One. As long as he's
Yeah.
getting buffed at least once by Gwenpool or Galacta, it does the same thing of allowing you to play one additional 3 cost, and it gets around Mobius. So you can't see the Fun Police TVA blocking your plans, right? And he's the
Mm-hmm.
same. He's actually more power. Hang on, is Sarah? I have not played her in so long. Is Sarah a 4 or 5 right now?
She's a 5, I think, right? Okay, she go up
She
to
is
a
a 5.
5.
So it's the exact same power. It's just exact same power, same play pattern. It just avoids Mobius M Mobius, which
You
that Surfer deck is really good.
yeah.
Could be fun. Can play it
And
on top of Hope still and do cool things.
there's no other like, and what happened to the game I used to love? Where's all my 2 costs that I can throw up at the end that are now 1 cost with like the classic Sarah thing? It was Lizard and
Uh-huh.
Maximus, so I have nothing else to do that with anymore.
Yeah.
We got
Yeah.
nothing new. I guess I could play Ghost Rider on the last turn. That doesn't matter. It's a
You
2/6.
already have Havoc in there.
I took out Havoc because
Okay, you could bring Havoc back
we
if you're
weren't doing the
looking at that kind of
shenanigans.
Sarah miracle.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of ways you can go around with this.
Yeah, I feel like with the how we kind of morphed the list here, wave, it gets cut and just is a different slot.
Could just be a different 3 cost. I mean, we
Yes,
could do like Shaw because we're running this package here
sure.
anyway.
Or
Or it could
Brood.
be Brood and that same idea. Uh, Esme doesn't really do much in this list. Mole Man, no. Mobius could just be your tech card of choice. Nakia to buff it in hand to at least guarantee you're getting +1 power if you for some reason whiff on the Gwenpool, Shuri, and the Galacta, which
Yeah,
or
that's what I wonder. Like, if you get a little, like, some other way to buff in hand, it could be the Nakia or the Okoye.
mhm.
It could be the America Chavez playing kind of blind, but
Could be Captain
take some
Carter.
shots.
You go Captain Carter into something. Oh, Captain Carter into
Ooh,
Shuri into him gives you extra power, right? Does that
it
work?
would. It should, because I believe. Oh, that's a good question. Is her power applied at the time the on reveal is checking his power?
Right.
I think it would, because my guess is that if like you play him to Nidavellir, you're getting 10. You
So
play him
if
solo
we
to Atlantis, you get
time out,
10.
if
Dude,
we
this
so
is
what if we just did this?
guys, get hyped.
Um
Get hyped for the fallen one.
what it like kind of going back to your idea of the surfer thing.
Yeah,
You just have a teeny
the surfer
tiny
deck
surfer
could just be the
package
deck.
with just like the brood. If you're gonna do Captain Carter and that works, you might as well have the brood as the fallback plan to do with Captain Carter and then
Symbiote
surfer.
Spider-Man actually really good with server.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question is, do we now is Magic the cut? Do we care
No.
about the extra turns?
I think you I guess it does depend. You might be gassed by turn 7 in this version,
Yeah, you just kind of run everything out. So like if we
right?
cut that, that gives us a slot for another potential 3 cost to like have as a a tech card like Red Guardian. Could be uh free card like Makari, the Nakia for the buff again idea.
Right.
I don't know what Prodigy would do in this list. Fastos could also be a card.
Yeah, buffs and
Uh,
discounts. I like it. He's on theme and a 3 cost.
I suspect he's not the best thing to be doing, and he's probably one of the first things I'd consider cutting. But at least he's the most theme relevant.
Yeah.
You could also just
There's
do Shaw
there's
the other day,
clearly
just like for the
right.
big boy.
Definitely flexibility, but I like the end result of a Surfer Sarah deck that is not relying on the energy discount, but just on higher max energy, because it gives you more flexibility.
Yeah, I like the
Because
idea.
Sarah was not applying her discount to 1-drops, and she was getting it turned off by Mobius, and so this avoids both of those downsides. You could drop high tempo 1-drops now with this, or at like just an advantage, strict advantage, or if the enemy is bringing Mobius, you don't care.
I'm into it. I like it. I'm excited to try it out. When
Right.
does this one come out?
This guy is releasing on August 19th.
Oh, we got a ways to go.
Chunky mid-season release. Gonna be fun. Gonna be a lot of fun testing.
Yeah. All right. Well, Teddy, that was beautiful. That was fun. We got a good look at what's coming this month. We didn't obviously go over all the cards, but there's too many at this point to kind of go over all of them. I'm excited to see what works as far as the new releases. Excited to try this deck that we just cooked up. Hopefully, Grand Arena sticks around and comes back sooner than they lead on. But yeah,
Yeah, hopefully we get it back sooner than we got Sanctum Sanctorum back.
yes, agreed. Um, but like always, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I know we're leaning more towards a almost monthly release at this point. But like I said, we'll do faster if we can based on our schedules. But at the very least, we're trying to at least hold up the idea of doing it monthly so we can at least review the previous season, look ahead at the next season, and keep it that consistent. But as always, we appreciate you guys. And Teddy.
Yep. All right, guys, you know the drill. Don't stop snapping.
Goodbye, everybody.